Welcome back to your Spiritual Meltdown Survival Kit. Today we are talking again about the spiritual meltdown feeling. Like, what's the point of this spiritual journey? What am I doing? It's when you feel disconnected from source, not necessarily that you are, just that feeling of disconnection. If you don't know me, again, I'm Chelsea. I am an intuitive activator and energy alchemist. I help align my clients to their own intuition, their own higher purpose, their gifts, and connect with their sacred vessels, boosting their own intuition, taking back their power, and really leading this spiritual journey in whatever way that looks for you. And so I consider myself to be quite an expert at going through these spiritual meltdowns because I've gone through many of them on my own journey, and it's just part of the growth. And today is a bit of a triggering topic because nobody wants to hear that it is your choice. So when you're feeling in that place of nothing is working out, this is all terrible, it's that victim complaining energy, and nobody wants to be in that. You probably didn't consider yourself being in a victim energy, but that's exactly what it is. It's a powerlessness. And the truth is, you're really just testing yourself, right? It's a flavor of powerlessness called fear. The fear of really stepping into a new way. So a new way of doing something, breaking the mold. That's where you're getting this, breakdown before the breakthrough. It's just a form of fear or a form of powerlessness called fear. So to move you from powerlessness energy, you want to find your point of power. And if you remember just one thing, it's I always have a choice. And that will be triggering in the moment. You'll likely resist that. You may even have to use some of the other strategies like the external strategies or the frequency state changers to be able to get to a point where you're open and willing to look at this. So you'll have to feel that out for yourself. But if you're ready and willing to walk through this with me, let's just assume you've made a decision. Let's say a lot of times this comes up as, you made a choice and it ended up feeling difficult. So you left a job and you're not yet in that place where you want it to be. You left a relationship and it's not feeling good now on the other side of that. You're reflecting back on, well, if I just stayed XYZ, the stories start being created. So again, you have a choice. So as annoying as it is, you always have a choice. And that's where the power is pulled back into your own system. So the choice is, in any of these scenarios, you either had the choice to stay or you had the choice to go. And if you start coming up with stories / excuses of, well, I didn't have a choice to stay because, this happened with my job and it was out of my control, there's always a choice. So go deeper. Okay. But just to simplify it for this case, you had a choice to stay or you had a choice to go. So then look at that choice to stay. What is that trajectory? What would that have looked like? Let's say you left. So what would that trajectory have looked like? What comes up regarding the story, how you feel about that? Then look at the choice to go. What is that trajectory? So what does that look like? What does that feel like? If you look at both of those choices and the consequences of those choices, if you're coming back to a place of complaining about both of those choices, you're in that victim powerlessness energy. Okay? So you want to ask yourself, what are you giving your energy to? And this is really important because something wins in this scenario. You're giving away your power. Something wins. The power goes somewhere. So does it go to the that program of what your family said of you'll never succeed in anything? Does it add more energy to that? And then you get to have that sort of excuse of, yeah, I'll never amount to anything. I'll never succeed in anything, blah, blah, blah. And therefore you don't grow beyond that. Somebody watching this, that's hitting your gut, and it may, because your gut is your power zone. Okay. So apologies if you're feeling that in your gut. And we're just going to move through this a little bit more. But you want to ask, what are you giving away your power to? What wins by you being in this energy of that powerlessness? that starts to shift your power back to yourself. So in the work that I do, I use my hands, I use my voice, I use my intention, and we're just adjusting this here for anyone who feels this in their gut space, that we can start to integrate this a little bit more deeply now, that it is a choice, even if it feels challenging, okay? It's not always easy, the choice. It's often not, but there is always a choice, okay? Just allowing that to integrate more deeply. Now, if you go back to the choice, should I stay? Should I go? What would have been the consequence of this choice? What's the consequence of that? And if one is more clear that, no, this was the aligned choice for me. Excuse me. I also clear the energy that way. My little burp gurgle things. So that's clearing for somebody out there watching this. Thank you. So if you have those two choices, let's just review. You have those two choices, stay or go. If both of them are complaining energy, you know your powerlessness, and you know you have to find where you're putting that energy into. Where did you give away your power? What programming is there that gets to accumulate more energy on your behalf? If you break down those two choices, stay or go, and one of them is more clear as an aligned choice, you may still have the pain and the hardship around what that means to have made that decision, but there's still a clarity of, no, this was the aligned choice for me. Then you can work with that differently. Okay, so then you can even the spiritual meltdown survival video that we did on the Zen, the horror story, the gratitude, coming back to the what, releasing the control on the how, and then anchoring back into that, making that command to your spirit team. That would be a great tool for that. And like I said, if you're in that powerlessness energy, those two choices are coming up as they both are crappy and it's never going to go anywhere and both of them are hard and blah, blah, blah. Again, you want to go back to where are you giving your power away to? You might want to use the tools of state changers or the external signs, and that will give you just enough sort of confidence and shift to be able to come back and reassess, okay, what is the choice? What were the choices here? Okay, you always have a choice. As hard as that is to hear sometimes, you always have a choice. And that, when you can really understand that, that brings your power right back into yourself, and that is where you're going to get the shift on the other side. So if this was helpful for you, I would really love for you to let me know by hitting that like button and subscribe as well. And then if you want to be notified of the other tools, there's so many, when that comes out, then please hit the notification button, the bell button, and I will see you then.